Hey guys, it's Tom Box. Welcome to MST.TV. Now this ruling segment today is a little bit different. We're going to do a deep dive onto one cheat/illegal play that has emerged in today's meta. We're going to call this one the Thunder Dragon Fusion Illegal Summon. Although you personally might not have encountered this illegal play, and I hope you never have to encounter this play, but enough people have DM'd me on Discord about tier 2 events where these situations have happened, enough to the point where I'm making this video. Now, in a bit, we'll go into the situation, the breakdown, and the level of impact that this illegal play has. But this video, I just want to make it clear, I'm not targeting anyone in particular. So yeah, this is a non-targeting ruling video, guys. Haha! But I highly recommend people to play according to the rules, especially when it comes to stuff like this. If you guys want to see more deep dives into various illegal plays that are happening in the current meta, leave a thumbs up. Make sure you guys hit subscribe and ding the notification bell. Summon the Dingirzu, and let's get into this one. So here's the situation. Player A has two Thunder Dragon Titans and a regular Thunder Dragon in the graveyard. In his main phase, Player A activates a Thunder Dragon Fusion, and it resolves, and Player A shuffles back to the extra deck two of his Thunder Dragon Titans and one regular Thunder Dragon. However, during this whole procedure, he proceeds to summon out the Thunder Dragon Titan from the cards he's shuffling back. I guess within the hand motion, it was obvious enough that it was not getting a new copy of anything. So then he says he can do that, and Player B asks Player A to show a third Titan. Player A refuses and says that his extra deck isn't public knowledge. Player B gets suspicious and calls a judge, accusing Player A of not having the proper monsters in the extra deck. See that he's not accusing him of cheating, he's just saying that he doesn't have the proper monster, basically more or less aiming towards a procedural error, more or less. Player A says he's saving time by not rummaging through the extra deck, and every second counts. So the breakdown is, can Player A legally perform that action, and is it wrong for Player B to call a judge like that? Did he have the grounds for that call? Okay, time for the breakdown. In terms of proper procedure, Player A should not be summoning out that copy of Thunder Dragon Titan that is going back into the extra deck. That's not exactly the copy that is the valid target for the fusion summon. The fusion summon has to be the one that is in the extra deck. And if you're going to be shuffling two copies back in from the graveyard back into your extra deck, well, that third copy technically, although maybe private knowledge in the extra deck, it's not exactly private knowledge when it goes onto the field, and the only way for that entire summon to be legal is that you do have the third copy, and you can just stop all sorts of suspicion, all sorts of wasted time, simply by showing that you have the third copy. If you don't have the third copy, that means you're just cheating at this point because you're trying to perform an illegal summon. And since that third copy is basically required for the entire play to be legal and you're refusing to show, that is grounds for suspicion where you are performing an illegal summon, and calling a judge would be a fair scenario. Okay, so TLDR here is, if you have a third copy of Thunder Dragon Titan, just summon or show that third copy of Thunder Dragon Titan so you can avoid this entire mess completely. Because even if you do reveal it, there's nothing that you really lose because your opponent will have the same information as if you didn't show it. So there's that. And if you're unable to produce it, all it leads to is you're just cheating on that summon and you're just performing something that's illegal. That's all. And if a judge has to come here and investigate this whole situation simply because you're refusing to do a very simple step, depending on what the judge is doing, and if there's grounds for it, they could issue a slow play warning or perhaps even a procedural error because you're, well, not performing everything according to the rules that needs to be done and causing a situation like this. And depending on your behavior, if your behavior is poor and you're using false knowledge for this kind of explanation, it could get worse. So that's kind of a bit of my breakdown. And for card legality's sake, if you have Thunder Dragon Fusion and you activate it, make sure you have the valid target in your extra deck, because if you do not have the valid target, even though you're shuffling stuff back in, you're not really allowed to summon those cards back out onto the field because they are the fusion material, not the final summon of the monster. So there's that. And a lot of people kind of compare to, oh, what about Gozen Match versus Farm Girl? That is a completely different case. The procedures are completely different and the circumstances are completely different in those cases. So yeah, just keep that in mind. So what's the level of impact for an illegal summon play like this? Let's look at the overarching scope of this first. it is like your opponent is playing 3 Thunder Dragon Titan, but they're not. So in that instance, it's like they're playing a 16 card extra deck, and that's just in general not fair. They're playing as if they had a third one, so that's basically means that they have an additional monster that they're not supposed to have in the extra deck. So in that regard, it's already really bad looking. But in terms of meta level impact, where it's just like life or death, is a game, is it like the difference between, you know, bubbling out and not bubbling out? Well, I got 3 scenarios for you guys in detail. Depending on the build that the player is running, many players play Gustav Max in their extra deck for the extra reach so that they can cut a game short. By simply playing that Thunder Dragon Fusion and shuffling back in both Thunder Dragon Titan, even though it was not a valid option, they would have the option of Gustav Max available once again. And simply by using the other method of summoning Thunder Dragon Titan by banishing a Thunder monster, you will be able to push for 3200, 3200, and then finish someone off with the Gustav Max additional 2000, like over 8k worth of damage. So you've been grinding for a while, you were unable to do damage, and finally you get to the point where you can put double Titan on the board. Well, that play is not allowed to happen, and of course that just is one of those plays that mean life or death. And in terms of the second impact at a competitive level, it's the amount of cards that you're able to shuffle in. 1 or 2 turns is a major difference, especially in terms of the grind game, because you're burning out resources fairly quickly as Thunder Dragon, but you're also able to cycle fairly well. Thunder Dragon Titan is the one monster that you want to summon out through those fusions, because you're able to shuffle in multiple cards of resources back into the deck rather than just one. In this particular case, you're going to pick 1 Thunder Dragon Titan in your graveyard, and then you're going to choose 2 more of the other Thunder Dragons back in, and because your target choices are generic, it's all good. Those fusion materials, well, then you can get back your Roar, your Hawk, and then you can get additional material and constantly cycle more and more fusions. But if you go with Thunder Dragon Colossus as your monster of choice, you can only shuffle back in OG Thunder Dragon plus 1 more, and that does not give you as many turns as you need in terms of the grind game. So that's why it does have a major impact, especially at the grind level. If you're going into time or anything like that, that's another level of defense you have, and another level of, you know, recycling your resources that, well, Titan offers, which Colossus does not. As for the third scenario, a low resource situation where the hands have been expended. This is the one that does matter a lot, especially when it comes to the late game where you're just trying to push for that last bit of damage. In a game testing situation where I was personally in, I was down to about 3000 life. My opponent needed to put a Titan and need to pop my 1 monster just to attack for game for the remaining 3000 life I had. With the Titan, you can do 3200, so that's perfect. However, his hand was only a Thunder Dragon Fusion and a Thunder Dragon that he can actually discard. The problem with going into a Colossus and then into a Titan is that Titan summoning will require to banish that last remaining monster, and that would make it so that he would only summon the body and be unable to do the particular pop. And that did come up. In that case, I was able to get an additional turn. I was able to summon Chaos Dragon Levineer, banishing my own Thunder Dragon monsters, establishing a full board, and then sending his monster to the graveyard and Dingirzuing the Thunder Dragon Titan to the graveyard and push for game. So that was a life or death situation which did occur simply because he did not have the valid target to summon. And if for a random instance I allowed him to summon out a Thunder Dragon Titan and it was the copy that he caught out from the graveyard, I definitely would have lost that situation, because he would still hold on to the Thunder Dragon he can activate. He would activate it, pop my card, and basically attack for game. So yeah, that's a huge difference. And in terms of people running 2 Thunder Dragon Titans versus the ones that run 3 Thunder Dragon Titans, if you have 3 Thunder Dragon Titans, you try to play Thunder Dragon Fusion, well, let's just say you can't summon a Thunder Dragon Titan, obviously. But having only 2 Thunder Dragon Titan, giving you that 1 spot extra in your extra deck, a lot of us have already mentioned that, hey, the difference between a 15 card extra deck and a 16 card extra deck is that you get 1 additional monster for coverage. It's the difference between fitting in a BLS and a Nightmare Unicorn together in the same deck, where you have the ability to remove a monster and hold your board against all control decks, basically, or you're trying to fit in Borrel's Sword and Borreload to take care of monsters that you can't break, and Borrel's Sword for the OTK. Like, having that 1 extra boss monster makes a huge deal of difference, and that's the kind of difference we're talking about, whether or not this situation matters. So in the long-term scope of things, sure, it might be 1 minimal situation that can come up, but the reason behind it is because they wanted to fit additional utility in their extra deck to get that additional advantage. and well, that's the risk and reward that they have to run with. And if they're trying to mitigate that and try to, squeeze their way through their own deck building choices, I think that's just in general not fair for everyone else. And just as a disclaimer, everything that I talked about in this video is my individual person's perspective towards the situation. You guys might have a different perspective as well. I'm just one guy that's just trying to give my analysis towards the situation. So yeah, there's that. But anyways, that's all I got for this video, guys. This is my deep dive breakdown for the Thunder Dragon illegal summon. If you guys have anything to add or any other awkward situations that you want to share, leave it down in the comment section below. I would love to hear about your thoughts about these kinds of situations. I've even got another one that is, I think, going to be a bit shorter compared to this one, which relates to Pot of Extravagance. But anyways, if you guys enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up. Hopefully you guys catch up on this. Hopefully everyone plays by the rules, especially when we talk about something that's a bit more serious like this one. Hit the subscribe, ding the dingirzu, hit the notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next one. I believe tomorrow's video is going to be Nishi talking about some very interesting stuff. So stick around, and I'll see you guys in the next one.